Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. This is the Rowley Board of Selectmen meeting for November 19th, 2018. This meeting is being audio and video recorded. The first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have an appointment at 7:15 with the Board of Assessors and a public hearing at 7:30 involving the liquor license belonging to the Rowley Veterans Association. I'll first take up general business number 1, which is a request from Police Chief Scott Dumas to appoint Roseanne Ferranti as per diem reserve dispatcher. And we have a memo from Chief Dumas requesting that she be appointed to that position.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion to appoint her has been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. General business number 2 is to authorize the fire chief and the Rowley Emergency Management Director, James Broderick, to sign the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency FY19 Emergency Management Planning Grants Form. We have,
that motion.
well, let me see. We have a letter from James Broderick to the Board of Selectmen. REMA has applied for and received an EMP grant for fiscal year 2018. In this grant, we were able to help defray the purchase price of a mobile display terminal for the police department placed in one of their cruisers. I have attached the following documents that need to be signed. These documents will designate the official signatory for the town as designated by the Board of Selectmen. In past years, the chairman of the board or myself have been designated as signatory. I have marked the areas that need to be signed and will make myself available to the board to discuss this grant if necessary. Okay, so Joe, your motion is to authorize the fire chief to sign this grant form?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. So, Debbie, I need to sign the contractor authorized signature listing. Is that correct?
That's right, and then you can just sign it. You can do that after the meeting if you wish to.
Okay. Well, general business number 3 is a request from Rowley Youth Baseball and Softball to hang a banner on the town common backstop announcing the opening of baseball and softball registration.
Give the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. We have a public comment period from 7:10 to 7:15. General business number 4 is a letter from Robert Keever of Harvey Performance offering to plant trees in the town. Mr. Keever of Harvey Performance has contacted the town. He's looking to plant a few trees in the town of Rowley as part of the company's green initiative. This is something that I'm extremely passionate about and would really like to do some good for our community. And so we've had comments on this request from tree warden Patrick Snow, who's reviewed Mr. Keever's correspondence, and he's offered the following comments. He suggests if the board wishes to accept Mr. Keever's offer, that the types of trees be red maples, sycamores, buttonwoods, or pin oaks, because these trees are salt tolerant, which is ideal if they're going to be planted on town property. In terms of location, Patrick has identified 2 locations. On the common near the Town Hall Annex at the Central and Weathersfield Street intersection, and on the common that is located at the intersection of Cross Street and Central Street. He brought up 2 points for the board to consider. Does the donation include the planting the trees, and who will be maintaining the trees? From Mr. Keever's letter, I would assume that he plans on planting them, right?
I presume that to be the case.
Yeah,
anyway.
and I guess we can ask him if he's gonna maintain. Any discussion?
I think, Mr. Chairman, I think the common by the annex is an excellent location.
Yeah, I do too.
A lot of those trees are half dead as it is. It would
Bad
be
shape.
worthwhile removing the half dead ones.
Right.
And putting these in a proper location. And probably be like we did the common, make sure they're 10 or 15, 20 feet, whatever it
Right.
is in from the street.
Right.
To reduce the amount of salt that gets on it. I'll give you a motion to approve.
Okay.
Want it?
I'll second.
Motion to approve the request to plant trees has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, moving on to new business.
Is this a comment period?
7:10,
7:10?
3 minutes. New business number 1, review a one-day entertainment license application filed by The Barn at Bradstreet Farm for a holiday open house on December 2nd, 2018, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at 239 Main Street. We've had Police Chief Scott Dumas, Fire Chief Broderick, Building Inspector Ken Ward, Coordinator of Health Services Frank Marchigiani, and Town Planner Kirk Baker, and Conservation Agent Brent Baselick. All review this request, and I don't think there's any, there was no objection from Chief Dumas or from Frank Marchigiani. Fire Chief and Building Inspector had concerns about the potential use of portable heaters and the occupancy limit of the barn. The applicant responded that portable heaters would not be used and that the occupancy limit would not be exceeded, which caused the Fire Chief and the Building Inspector to say that their concerns had been resolved. Conservation Agent Brent Baselak had questions about the outside activities, and when answered by the applicant, Brent said the Conservation Department doesn't foresee any negative impacts. Town Planner Kirk Baker suggested that the Selectmen could consider an approval condition which prohibits any off-site parking. Do we have authority to attach conditions to these licenses? Okay. So does someone want to make a motion to approve the requests with the condition that there be no off-site parking?
Yeah, I'll give you that motion.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, I'll open the public hearing period now, if anyone has the public comment period, rather.
I'm Fieldtown at 22 Bennett Hill Road, and last week I was at the planning board meeting, which ended up having to end because unfortunately a lot of people there couldn't hear, and so they decided to adjourn and reschedule, and this seems to be a chronic problem when open meetings are held at the annex with rooms the size of bedrooms in a growing town that obviously wants to be a part of the process as people show up for these meetings more and more. I have concerns that it meets a capacity in terms of safety, as well as not meeting the spirit of the open meeting law. People can't hear and they're out in the hallway, and it's really not an open meeting, and I think that's was kind of apparent the other day. And the other night, they had to reschedule to a larger venue, and I just feel that we need a larger permanent venue for these meetings, and I think it might attract more people to want to participate and be the next people in this town that take on the role of governing our town and adding input and making this the best town it possibly can be. And until we address this issue, I think it's going to kind of, it's going to be a log jam. It's going to be an issue. It's going to be a chronic problem. And I think if we don't address it, there's going to be a lot of, sentiment expressed in a negative manner. And I think we need to nip that one in the bud. And I'm hoping you guys can look at this seriously and finally come up with a better venue and attract more and more people to this process of making Raleigh a better place.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate your concerns. Unfortunately, we can't respond to it specifically because it's not on our agenda, but I do appreciate your points. I think they're well taken. Okay. New business number 2, which is a letter from Bruce Tompkins to convert a portion of Chapter 61 land forestry on Parcel 6 of Assessor's Map 11 on Weathersfield Street to residential use. This request has been circulated to the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board for review. Both of these boards have responded with a recommendation to waive the town's right of first refusal. Notes the letter states that that the land is being converted to residential use and that it will not be sold for less than $175,000. Under Chapter 61, Section 8, when land is being sold, Mr. Tompkins needs to include a statement of intent to sell and a certified copy of the executed purchase and sales agreement. No certified copy of an executed purchase and sales agreement was included. It is unclear if the notice was sent to the state forester as required under General Laws, Chapter 61, Section 8. The Board of Selectmen's options are 2. Number 1, vote to waive the town's right of first refusal. 2, exercise the town's right to purchase the parcel. Or 3, postpone any action on this agenda item and request a copy of the certified executed purchase and sales agreement and proof that the notice has been sent to the state forester. Well, I would suggest that option 3 is the way to go on this, since it doesn't meet the requirements of a proper notice.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you, Mr. Chairman. I know we had a previous case where there was 3 or 4 times that the landowner came before the board, and each time the application was incomplete. So I think in the spirit of keeping up with the way that everything should be done, I'd agree that number 3 is the option we should exercise at this point.
So is that a motion to
Yes,
postpone any action?
sure.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion to postpone has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Old business. We have another minute or 2. Old business number 1 is Pine Grove School project update. Joe, anything to?
I have some
update
good
us on?
news. The
Could use that.
Pine Grove School will have a Christmas caroling in the all-purpose room on the, what date is the Friday in December? Just before Christmas? 22nd?
21st?
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 21st. They will be caroling by the Pine Grove school children in the all-purpose room on the 21st of December. And we should be having the fall town meeting in January. January 14th will be in the all-purpose room.
And that's all because the all-purpose room is finished now.
It's just about finished.
Mr. Chairman, and that offers a venue for any large-scale public meetings. Now we have a location, Selectmen, many years ago had meetings in there as well. So if there are boards that have large meetings, they can make arrangements with the Pine Grove School Administration and schedule meetings there.
Sure.
And just one more comment. You will notice at the town meeting in January that there won't be any camera on the floor because the camera will be mounted in the back wall and it will be operated from an office. So that will be an advantage to us in the
And the stage will be lower, which I
And the
think will
stage
be a
will
great
be lower.
advantage. That stage is much too high, in my opinion. Okay, it's 7:15. And the Board of Assessors here? Come on in.
Hello.
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 How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks.
I'm going to close the public comment period. This is a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen and the Raleigh Board of Assessors and a tax classification hearing. I will call the joint meeting with the Board of Assessors to order by asking for a motion to open the joint meeting by a roll call vote.
I'll give you that motion.
I'll second.
The motion to open the meeting has been made and seconded. Roll call vote.
I love it now. All right, Walter Snow.
Aye, Cliff Pierce.
Aye, Joe Perry.
Hi, Dave Peterson.
Hi, Diane D'Angeli.
I, Jamie Snow.
Hi, Donald Thurston.
Okay. I'll read the public hearing notice into the record. And this was published in the November 6, 2018 edition of the Daily News. Town of Raleigh Board of Selectmen Tax Classification Hearing. Notice is hereby given that the Raleigh Board of Selectmen and the Raleigh Board of Assessors shall meet jointly on Monday, November 19, 2018, at 7:15 p.m. at Town Hall, 139 Main Street, Route 1A, Raleigh, Mass., to determine what tax classification rates there shall be for residential, open space, commercial, industrial, and personal property for fiscal year 2019. All town residents are invited to attend this hearing. Okay, now the joint meeting of the boards is open. I will call for a motion of the Board of Selectmen to open the tax classification hearing by a roll call vote of the Board of Selectmen.
Hi, Robert. Thank you. Robert Snow.
Aye, Cliff Pierce.
Aye, Joe Perry.
Hi, Dave Peterson.
Okay,
I did.
so you have to call separately for a
Oh,
motion.
so I call a motion for the Board of Assessors for the open the tax classification hearing with the Board of Selectmen. On a roll call vote, I, Diane D'Angeli.
I, Jamie Snow.
Hi, Donald Thurston.
Perfect, okay. So I'll ask the Board of Assessors to make a presentation on the classification of the tax rates and a recommendation for FY19. Would that be you, Sean?
That would be me.
Seems very familiar now.
Yeah. So I gave a packet, handed out a packet, and every year I do essentially the same thing, but some years change it slightly. I do the average single-family home. We're required to do an interim adjustment annually, but DOR requires it. In this past September, we did an adjustment, and overall the values for single families went up 6%, but the average single-family home went up 5%, the example I have here. Like everything, with everything, averages, some are higher and some are lower. This is the first year that some of the borrowing for the 2 overrides for the public safety building and the Pine Grove School, along with the stadium that was voted in a few years ago, will be showing on the taxes. The average value for a single family went up $26,800 from the $429 of last year to $456. The increase in the values actually benefited and helped us. The tax rate only went up 10 cents from last year, from the $14.58 to $14.68, and that is because of the valuations changing. So that if values go up, the rates will drop. Another factor that it affects it too, if we didn't have the override, the tax rate would have been, this year, would have dropped more. It would have been $14.15. So 53 cents of this year's increase, tax rate increase, is based on the first process of the borrowing for the overrides, which we were aware were coming, and on the average property, that's $242. So on the average $256 home, $242 of the $436 is from the school and public safety overrides.
So the average tax increase for a single-family home is $436.
For a $456,000 single-family home, is $436 this year.
So-
And again, some will be higher and some will be lower. We
right.
just have to unfortunately work in averages. And different style homes go up. It depends on the market. This year, we only used 2017 sales. I didn't look at 2018. I only came in at 95% of full value, not higher than that, where I've come in the past. I like to come in at 97. I feel the way the market has been in this town so aggressive that there might be an adjustment, and I don't want to be too far ahead of it. I want to be cushioned slightly, so in case something happens with the market, it will be easy for us to recover.
I mean, in case it goes down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way these prices can continue the way they are. Because if I put 2018
here.
sales in here, they would have gone up even more substantially if I put 2018 sales in.
Hmm.
And we look at sales. That's how your assessment is determined, based on property sales. And so the board works with valuations that are set in the market. And the budget is based on overrides, Proposition 2.5 overrides, and the resulting is the tax rate and the tax bills.
Okay.
So on the next, what we hear about is setting a factor. On the third page, and I do this every year, at 10% commercial industrial value, you can shift the burden onto the businesses. I don't recommend it because it would penalize the businesses, and I have the examples here. If we did a 5% shift, the single-family homeowner, if you look down on the lower section, the single-family $456,000 home, if we shifted just 5%, the rate would go from $1,468 to $1,457. They'd save $50. But then on the commercial industrial side, the average commercial industrial is $680. Their rate would jump to $1,542, and their taxes would go up $503. And that's just 5%. The rest of them, I showed the dramatic difference it can make if you did a higher percentage change. So that's why the board voted to keep a factor of 1 at their meeting at 6 o'clock today.
So to change the rates would be a disincentive for new businesses to come.
I think I've always said, if you get to 25%, 75-25, sure, that's when you look into it. Because it wouldn't be, there'd be enough commercial industrial value
Right.
to kind of help. But right now, it only hurt.
Right.
We'll attract business.
We need to attract business.
Right.
I've been saying that. You.
So I see that our commercial sector is 13.17% of assessed value.
Yeah,
Is that it?
13% of the total value.
Is that an increase from last year?
No, it's actually down slightly because the residential went up.
Oh,
A
really?
slight,
Okay.
just a slight, but it shifted with the valuation changes. And commercial industrial did go up. They went up 2
Yeah,
or
it
3%.
seems like they have, yeah, right. So is it like...
Their assessments.
So the rate of increases, or the rate of new commercial development has been pretty good lately.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean,
it's still in progress. A lot of it takes a while to get on the rolls. And
right. So when does it actually show up on the rolls? Like places that are under construction now? When?
Like Briar
I
Bond
was
down the
just gonna have to
street.
use that as an example.
We're partially assessing, I'm partially assessing it this year. It's all based on June 30th is my cutoff. That's the last day you can pick up new construction.
Right.
And I had to be out there, I was out there right before June 30th, saw where it was. It's partially assessed. Next July, I'll be out, it should be done, should be open. We'll see that a year from now.
And then the assessment will go up?
Yeah,
So I think I saw that was assessed at $2 million?
yeah,
So that number will go up next year?
dramatically.
Oh, really?
Some of the buildings were only at 30%. One of them, the spa was at 70%. I'm trying to remember how I had them.
Hmm.
The hotel, I think, was at 30% when I was
Okay.
there.
Okay. Anything else?
No? If anybody has questions, I can answer.
I think, Mr. Chairman, as you drive around town, you can see that as houses go up for sale, they're selling extremely fast. I'm not sure what Raleigh has to offer. But it seems like every time you turn around, the house goes up for sale. And within
Yeah.
30 days or so, it seems as a sold.
Well, what I
sale.
heard is people have priced out of Boston, and so they've been moving up 95, and now they're priced out of Newburyport, and they're moving down 95.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why
Oh, it's a
Raleigh's
great-
become more desirable.
We all know, live
Where to
here,
put
it's
it.
it's a great location.
Right.
And the other thing is on the assessments for business versus residential, hope people understand that we don't have, unlike a place like Newburyport Industrial Park or some of these other communities, Peabody, Danvers, that have large incentives that they're able to give to attract business. We don't have an incentive. We have only what the town has to offer, so it's important for us to not discourage business by increasing their taxes. And yeah, it's a little bit of a burden on all of us. We're all taxpayers too, so we certainly understand and feel the pain like everybody else does. But I think right now the town's growing at a pretty rapid rate, and if you look around, there's houses being built all over the place, as well as new developments on line to be built in the future. So the town's going to be going through some dramatic changes in the next 4 or 5 years. So then depends on what the economy's gonna do too, like you say. So I think, I feel strongly that we keep it at 1-to-1, and I think Sean's done a great job along with the Board of Assessors. I always praise Sean every year for him and his, and the secretary or his assistant assessor, I'm not sure what her title is, but
Administrative assistant.
administrative assistant, they're always there, they're always available, they're very easy to deal with. I know anytime I go in there with requests, they're more than happy to help us out, so I congratulate you and the Board of Assessors for being such an open body.
We're
Yeah.
glad we have him.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely.
Just don't ask for a raise.
Sean's not laughing.
I've heard that before.
I'll echo those sentiments.
Any questions or comments from members of the audience or residents? No? Okay, I guess I'll call for a motion of the Board of Selectmen to close the public hearing by a roll call vote.
I'll give you that motion.
Oh, okay.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote.
I, Robert Snow.
Aye, Cliff Pierce.
Hi, Joe Perry.
Hi, Dave Peterson.
I motion to the Board of Assessors to close the public hearing by a roll call vote. I, Diane D'Angeli.
I, Jamie Snow.
I, Donald Thurston.
Okay, thank you. So I think we've already had a discussion on which tax classification rate we should opt for. So would someone like to make a motion, a selectman like to make a motion on the classification rates for residential, open space, commercial, industrial, and personal property by fiscal year 2019 by a roll call vote?
I'll make that motion.
I'll
You
second.
said
Motion
one
made and
to one.
seconded, roll call vote?
Second.
For 1-to-1, right?
1-to-1.
Here, to keep it the way it is now.
I, Robert Snow.
Aye, Cliff Pierce.
Hi, Joe Perry.
Hi, Dave Peterson.
I make a motion by the Board of Assessors that we voted to keep the factor as 1. On a roll call vote, I, Diane D'Angeli.
I, Jamie Snow.
I, Donald Thurston.
Okay, I'll call for a motion to close the joint meeting of the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Assessors by a roll call vote.
I'll give you that motion.
Second.
Bob, roll call vote?
I, Robert Snow.
Aye, Cliff Pierce.
Hi, Joe Perry.
Hi, Dave Peterson.
I call a motion also to close the joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen. I, Diane D'Angeli.
I, Jamie Snow.
I, Donald Thurston.
Okay, we're closed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night. Good night.
Okay, right now we have a public hearing with Stephen Morris, President of the Rowley Veterans Association, to discuss the liquor license change of manager application and change of board of directors application. I'll read the notice of the public hearing, which was advertised on November 8th, 2018 in the Daily News. Notice is hereby given in accordance with Chapter 138 of the Mass General Laws as amended, that the Raleigh Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Monday, November 19, 2018 at 7:30 p.m. in the Raleigh Town Hall, 139 Main Street, Raleigh, Mass. Upon the application of Raleigh Veterans Association, Inc., President Steve Morris, for an application for a change of manager and change of officers and directors for their existing club license. The business is located at 19 Bradford Street, currently consisting of a lounge and service bar downstairs. Anyone wishing to comment should attend this hearing. Written comments will be accepted. I'll call for a motion to open the hearing.
Make a motion?
I'll second.
Motion to open the hearing has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? The ayes have it. The applicant has paid all taxes, water bills, and electric bills. The building inspector, police chief, fire chief, and town planner were asked if they had comments with respect to the new manager or the board, and they did not provide any comments. The following items that the applicant was asked to address on this application, according to staff, have not been resolved, and this is therefore an incomplete application. Number one, the residential address for Richard Dodson is listed as 22 Cedarwood Lane versus his Corey form, which lists his address as 280 Main Street, Apartment D. On the form, there was a prior disciplinary action question, which was answered. The applicant must check yes or no, and then complete more information if yes is checked off. There was also a financial disclosure form, which was left blank. It says this is required for change of officers' applications. The applicant may want to check with the ABCC to see if this needs to be completed. There was an applicant's statement that checked off the business as an LLC/LP, but the RVA is shown as an Inc. The selectmen should point this out in case the application wants to contact the ABCC for guidance. No monetary transmittal form was provided or evidence of a $200 fee payment to the ABCC. No DOR certificate of good standing was provided. No DUA certificate of compliance was provided. According to page 5 of the checklist, articles of organization were submitted. 2 directors are handwritten in. The residential address for Richard Dobson is inconsistent, and the residential address for John Pigsley listed as 15 Reza Road, Beverly, versus the application form, which lists his address as 23 Green Street, Beverly. Amy followed up via email with Richard Dodson today at 12:15 as to the status of these items. Mr. Dodson did not reply or call the office. At 2:05, Cormac and O'Neill brought in the required affidavit of notice to abutters and others forms. He said he would track down the remaining information and bring it to the office. And I understand at about 4:15 we received some additional information from the RVA, which we have not had a chance to review. Okay, so we'll first hear any responses you have to all of that.
I believe the only form that we are missing at this time is the DOR, which is our meal tax, which we brought a copy down that we are in compliance. We don't owe any taxes on the meal taxes. There was some type of, something happened with the state that they took out double payment for meal taxes, and we were trying to get through that. And it was a very lengthy process as to whether they had refunded us or not. That was what's holding up our certificate. That has all now been resolved. We had another meals tax of $385 that was paid, and it has been received. And I believe that is once that is processed, they will offer us that certificate. But we brought down a copy of what is shown on the state form itself, that we are in compliance and paid in full on all of our meal taxes.
Okay, but the things that I listed.
All those addresses changed have been fixed and corrected.
Okay.
We brought in receipts of the $200. I believe Amy or Debbie got that information. So I believe the only thing outstanding is that one form. And that's the only thing that we're waiting for right now.
I understand, Debbie, these are all state requirements, correct?
That's right, these are not
Not town requirements, so, you know, hopefully all that stuff will be there, but
They'll be reviewed by the state
Right.
and not us, and
I'm
very diligent.
I'm
if
hoping
there's a
we-
problem, the state will tell you, so.
I'm hoping we have it at least by Wednesday. We've been just going back and forth with this, with phone calls, emails, and they're saying it's our fault. We sent them all the records that we have of our bank statements proving that they never reimbursed us for the double payment. And that was the whole holdup. We kept going back and forth. And every time we talked to a different individual, we got a different response. yes, you're in compliance, we will send a letter out. We waited and waited, never got it, made a phone call, sent another email, got a different story from somebody else. And it was just aggravating, spending hours on the phone with the different individuals, but we finally got it resolved.
Okay. All right, is there anyone present at the hearing who would like to speak on the application, one way or the other? No? We received a written comments from John Bryant.
Could I just suggest that he identify himself for the record?
I'm sorry. this is good.
Richard Dotson?
We received a comment from John Bryant, who was a trustee at Woodlands, at the Woodlands at Rowley, 19 Morphew Lane. The property abuts the Rowley Veterans Association on Bradford Street. By a certified mail, I received notice of a public hearing to be held on November 19. The notice says the discussion will deal with change in management and officers for the veteran group. Last year, there was a meeting at the Veterans Association regarding outside evening parties. Is this issue on the table again this year? Please respond at your convenience. Okay, so you're aware that you are not allowed to have any outside activities at all until it's approved by the planning board?
Correct.
And that your liquor license doesn't extend to outside activities either? Right. Do the selectmen have any further questions or comments of the proposed manager, Richard Dodson? Are you tip certified, sir?
And I just completed my crowd control. We now have 8 employees that are certified with the crowd control.
And we have the copies of certificates right here.
Okay, great. Could you describe your experience running a bar?
I was a bar manager in Florida for quite some time. I've been a bartender for many years at a few establishments around town. The AMVETS, the 498, I filled in at the Saints, so I have quite a bit of experience running the night shift and closing, and also running, assisting running people, making schedules are done, bank deposits are done, our bills are paid, ordering the liquor. I've done that. I may not have been the bar manager, but that was part of some of my duties during the day, or if it was the evening shift. I left a note for the incoming bartender of what needed to be ordered, and then that was forwarded to the bar manager. But I have roughly 20 years of bartending in establishments.
Okay. And how many bartenders will be working at the RVA?
I believe we have 8 at this time.
And are they all tip certified?
Yes, they all tip certified, and those 8 are all now crowd control certified.
And could you describe your knowledge of the state liquor license laws and procedures?
The times that we must shut down at 12:45. I'm sorry, last patron has to be out at 12:45. Be in accordance with serving or overpouring customers, making sure we're in compliance with that nobody is leaving there totally intoxicated to the point where they're putting themselves at risk as other people, as well as the establishment as a liability. And how much we can serve as far as a 1.5 shot glass. We are not to exceed that. Overpour is supposed to be measured. Pretty much the extent of what I can get into as of now.
Will this be a full-time or a part-time position for you?
It will be a part-time in coincidence with the assistant manager. So I will be doing the day-to-day routine of the deposits and handling finances and scheduling. And then the assistant manager will be helping me and assisting me with liquor orders as per our inventory and what is needed for any upcoming holidays. So if we need extra, the assistant manager will be helping me with that.
So your license allows the RVA to serve alcohol from 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. weekdays and 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. on Sundays.
We don't open at 9 o'clock.
You don't? What time do you open?
We open at 11:30.
Okay, so when during the day are you planning on being on site?
I will be there in the morning before the shifts start. And then from there, I just leave for my regular job.
When is that?
I don't have a set schedule.
Yeah.
I don't have set hours. I go to work, I have my jobs that I need to do. As long as my jobs are completed, I have no set schedule.
Okay.
I don't have a 6 to 2, 7 to 3, 8 to 4. I have no set schedule.
Does the board have any further questions?
Who's in charge? Is the bartender in charge of the building when, do you know?
When they arrive and they check in, the bartender is basically in charge of what happens.
So the role of the manager and assistant manager is basically administrative, is that what you're saying?
No, if I am not there, the assistant manager will most likely be there. I will be there on the weekends, and then as a night shift, after my job is done, I will go to the bar, make sure everything is okay. Nothing happened, any incidents that I need to be aware of. So it'll be kind of a split duty between myself and the assistant manager to make sure the place is running the way it's supposed to. And if there's any incidents that happen, or if the bartenders have any concerns, it'll be kind of split between the both of us.
So if a police officer pulls in at 9:30 at night to ask a question, or there's a concern about a complaint, either you or Mr. Dodson would be available to...
I'm Mr. Dodson.
I'm sorry, Mr., I forget the other guy's name. but
Cormac.
Cormac
Yes.
would be available.
If it is urgent, I am literally 3 minutes away. I'm right around the corner.
It's rare, it's going to be a rare occasion when one of you isn't there.
Very rare, yes. And we also have the president who would be there from time to time as well. But not mandatory or not needed, but he would be there from time to time as well. So we would have coverage between the three of us. I believe we are entertaining the thought of pulling together the bartenders and having a head bartender. We're just kind of tossing that up in the air right now. That's not really been discussed too much. We're kind of waiting to see where we go from here. Once we get the steps complete, we think we're going to entertain that idea. That just gives us more coverage, and it helps us out that everything's covered on a day-to-day basis, 7 days a week.
So we're not talking about no use still to the second floor?
No, nobody has been up there at all since the last meeting. Nothing has been done up there. I don't even think any of our employees have gone up there.
The only thing we do is flush the toilets and run the water to make sure everything's running fine.
So our pipes aren't freezing.
Yep.
I guess my concerns, in the past year, give or take, and it seems like the administrative portion of what goes on up there has been very poorly run. In other words, you're not following the planning board regulations, you're reading memos to your convenience, not to what the memo says. I mean, we've had a lot of different issues at the Davis complaining, we got all kinds of complaints, and we need to get this straightened out.
That's what.
And it appears as though you're working in that, to that endeavor. And I know there's been a lot of personnel issues and infighting up there and so on and so forth. And am I assuming that that's all been taken care of now?
Yes.
So everybody's peaceably getting along and
Yes.
and working with each other and not at wit's end to
No,
undermine
that-
anybody, or
that is
because it's
pretty
important
much-
here. You got a huge responsibility here, both to your customers, the neighbors, the neighborhood, the town, the state. So there's a lot of people that are watching your operation, and to this point, particularly this past summer, it wasn't very well run.
No.
And most of it was against, I don't know about against the law, but certainly against what should have been going on up there.
I think one of the biggest things that I noticed, and since I've come on board, is there was a very lack of communication between management and bartenders. Nobody really knew who was doing what, who was leading what. And after we had our meeting Monday, we had a bartender meeting to kind of clarify some things as to what needs to be done down there for communication. And I think the communication has gotten extremely better now, that there's two individuals involved, and the bartenders can come to us and ask anything. And I think that was the biggest thing of the breakdown, was the communication between management and bartenders, and also board of directors.
What's the intention with the second floor now?
We'll cross that bridge once we are in compliance and we have it built.
And the
And
stairs done.
it's signed off on. I believe since the town selectmen amended the license, we would have to revisit that before we could make any type of decision what we're gonna do. Obviously, it's taking business away from us from having no functions, but we understand why. I'm putting that behind us. I just want to move on to our next step, which is getting the building permit from Ken, being in compliance with him, having our inspection, which I've already gone through all the exit signs. All the exit signs are functioning, all the lights are functioning. I know that the chief brought that up, that every time he goes there, it seems to be that they're not working. All the batteries have been changed, lights have been changed, so I'm ready for him on that aspect of it. Fire extinguishers were just recertified on the 14th, so all the extinguishers are correct for the next year of November. So my biggest thing is moving forward with the stairs. I can't give you a full answer
I'm
of
not expecting a full.
what we're gonna go do going forward, but the biggest thing is functions. We've already canceled numerous functions that were booked months in advance, but that's neither here nor there. We can't do anything about that.
I guess my point is that, as far as I'm concerned, I don't speak for the board, I speak for myself, that the period between now, assuming that we approve the changes, that the period between now and the time that you come back to us to enlarge the liquor license and return the second floor, it's like a probationary period. And we don't want to, when that hearing comes up, assuming that it does, we don't want to hear any new complaints about noise or outside drinking or issues that, have been a problem up to now. In other words, it's up to you as the manager and your assistant manager and your bartenders to make sure that any kind of trouble at all, your license is in jeopardy. Because, like I say, as far as I'm concerned, and maybe with others on the board, you're kind of on probation. It's been a horrendous 3 or 4 years we've had dealing with license issues and applications and all kinds of complaints and things like that, and neighborhood complaints. So, the business is there. We don't want to put you out of business, but we want to make sure that you follow the letter of the law, and when you come back, that you have a clean slate to sit here and to get that second floor license back again. So
I do know one thing that's going to be changed with the upstairs is the time that bands are permitted to play. I believe in the past they were allowed to play till 11 o'clock. I believe we're going to amend that on our own and make that 10 o'clock. So that.
Talking about in the future or now?
Yeah, in the future.
Yeah, there's nothing
Once
wrong.
everything's done and settled and we get the upstairs
That's
back,
good.
ourselves personally, by way of policing it, I think we're going to change it to 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Because that helps with the neighbors, and I think
So this will
that,
be after the construction is approved by
Correct.
Ken?
Once everything's done and
it's
we're-
inspected and you get your liquor license back for the upstairs, this is what you're talking about, right?
yes. And that's going to be brought up in a board of directors meeting.
I
And we're
think
going to
you
vote
need
on
an
it.
entertainment license to do that, right? So be aware that there's a license involved in that.
We're
too.
learning, we learned all
We're
that.
not doing it.
Learn the hard way, for sure.
Yeah,
Even once everything's done upstairs,
We need Cornhole to come back upstairs. They're a big supporter of us. Thanks for the best
It's gonna be
previous
inside, I'll tell you
management.
right now. We're not gonna be
Yes.
looking for anything outside.
Right.
And it's a residential area, and
my main concern is upstairs. I don't care about doing anything outside, getting an entertainment license, going to the planning board for outside downstairs. That's the least of my
okay,
concerns.
you're recorded, so we'll remember that.
You heard it from me.
I'm finding out.
I can't say I didn't say it.
Well, it sounds like you're on the right direction,
Yeah,
so.
it does. Anything else? No? Okay.
I could just make a recommendation. I think we should change the license to read, maybe you can't do it now, but if they're not using that 9 to 11 license at some point in the future, I think we ought to make it 11 to 1, 7 days a week, and get rid of that 9 o'clock start time, just to,
That's fine.
I don't know if
with
we
us.
can do that now, but it's just, I understand what you're saying, but we need it, if it's not on paper, it's meaningless. You can do whatever you want if it's not.
Right.
So I don't know, I don't think we can do it today, but
Right.
it's a different subject.
It's
but
on our front door and side door, our hours of operation. We have
Maybe
all-
if we renew the license January 1st, we could.
Right.
Mr. Chairman,
Change
we
the
are
hours.
starting the renewal process for 2019, and I think that would be the time when the board...
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that
we'll
makes
just
sense.
understand that when the license is renewed for January 1st, that I'll recommend anyway that we go 11 in the morning till 1 in the morning, 7 days a week, and get rid of the early Sunday start.
Okay, all right, so I'll call for a motion to close the public hearing.
Give me that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion to close the public hearing has been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, so we need to discuss the application and votes. We have to make a decision on this application tonight because today is the 30th day after we received the application on October 29. We've got, as I see it, we've got two options. The first would be to approve the application and send it to the ABCC with notations about the missing documentation to the extent there is missing documentation. The applicant in that event could work out whatever issues about documentation are left directly with the ABCC. So that would allow you to work that out directly with the ABCC, so that might be the better option. Again, these documents are acquired by the ABCC and not by the town. Option 2 would be to disapprove the application, and the applicant would then have 5 days to file an appeal. So, anyone want to make a motion?
I'll give you a motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve the application and send it to the ABCC with notations about the missing documentation.
Second.
Okay, the motion to approve the application has been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Amy will prepare the local licensing authority summary form tomorrow, and we'll let the board know when this is ready to be signed. The application, along with the summary form, needs to go to the ABCC for further review. Okay, I think that covers it.
All set.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck. Okay, turning back to old business number 2, which is the fire station and police station addition. Project update, a temporary occupancy permit has been issued for the police station addition. All the police department operations have been moved into the new addition. A temporary dispatch center is up and running in the police station conference room. The contractor has started the demolition in the existing police station for dispatch center renovation. The fence separating the police and fire station on Eris Park is being installed. Site work continues on the grounds, and the interior work continues in the fire station.
Mr. Chairman, just to follow up on that, the split rail fence in the rear of the two buildings will allow a lot more parking, much closer to what the parking was originally before the project started for the ball games over there, which the sports teams are going to appreciate, I'm sure. Today they started installing the overhead garage doors, 6 of the big, huge garage doors. They start at the back of the building, so I assume that with the holidays coming, it may take a little time, but the garage doors are in and being installed. I would like to commend the police department again for the effort they've made for close to a year now of being stuck in that small building and now making all the transfers over to the other building. It's been a fantastic job by those people for cooperating with us and making it a much cheaper. They could have looked at renting access space somewhere else, and they didn't. They agreed to work in there. So my compliments to the chief and all the department personnel up there for what they've been willing to do. My last thing I would like to say is the only comments I seem to get about the building at all is the fact that the fire station looks like it's way too big. And I would just like to remind people that every office in this building is tiny, cramped, and very difficult working conditions for our staff. Same thing over at the annex. If you go in over there and walk through the building, all the office space is cramped and stacked on one on top of each other. Both of these buildings, the police and fire stations, were planned and being built so that they're going to supply the town with sufficient space and quality buildings for the next 50 years. Well, most of us anyway, might be a couple of people in the audience that are younger, will be gone by the time, other than normal maintenance. So I mean, and understand that the police department has somewhere around 20, 25 personnel that work in that building on a daily, weekly basis. The fire department, although we've only got 3 full-timers now, is going to have 5 full-timers come spring. We have another 25 part-time firemen, call firemen, that will be using that building. They have to have shower facilities, locker room facilities for male and female. Anyone who knows the fire department knows that they've been working out of a shoehorn space over there that's been incredible for the last 40 years that I've been in town. So, people look at the space and they look at the building, oh, it's awful big. Well, believe me, 10 years from now, we'll probably be up to 6 or 8, maybe 10 full-time firemen. I mean, it's getting to the point now where it's getting harder and harder to call firemen because they're just not in town. They're working and they're not available other than scattered time. So a call comes in and sometimes there's only 2, maybe 3 firemen are available to even respond. So the buildings were built for us to grow. The town's growing. When I came to town 40-odd years ago, we had 3,000 people. We got over 6,000. And if you look around at what's going on, we're looking to encourage through zoning more business. There's residential development going on all over the place. So the town's going to keep on growing, and these 2 facilities are designed and being built to handle the growth for the next 25 to 50 years. So when people comment about the size of the buildings, the last thing we want to do, which happened 25 years ago with the police station, the day we moved in that police station building over there, it was too small when we moved in because the town didn't appropriate enough money to make it work. So we're building for the future, and it's a lot cheaper to build it now than it will be to add additions or add space later on. So keep that in mind when you go by there and you say, wow, it looks awful big, and it does look big. But keep in mind that this public safety operations that are going to be going on there, and the weather changes and all these other things that are going on, and the commercial business growth and things like that, believe me, they're going to fill that space and they're going to use it and use it well. So that's all.
I was looking at the demographics of the town over the past 30 years. I'm on the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission, that's part of, and we've been gaining every decade about 500 to 700 people, and that's going to continue. And as we've been talking about the assessors tonight, when you look at Raleigh's starting to become a community that people are looking at. They're getting priced out of Boston, they're getting priced out of Newburyport, and they're looking down 95. And this is a place that, it's a good place to raise a family. And we all know that, and that's the reason we live here. We'll be very surprised after we go into the fire station and we really get settled into the police station, how much space it has taken up. And, fire services have changed. They're not the old fire station that, there's hazmat that has to be done. There's, wash machines. There's this whole fire service is completely different than, our grandfathers when they were.
Even 20 years ago, it's changed hugely in the last 15 to 20 years.
I mean, every time we buy a truck, the modifications, the 2000 truck that we have is really kind of an obsolete truck because the standards that they put on the new trucks. So the next truck that we purchase and we bring online will be, what is it, 2008 or 2010, that'll be obsolete. So things change.
And one of the big advantages of the new building will be that we can take better care of our own equipment, the fire trucks themselves, and we have to wash off that salt from the winter roads, and we haven't been able to do that, and we have a couple of trucks that are in serious condition because of the wear of the salt on the lower part of the chassis. And so now we'll be able to take better care of our fire trucks in the new station.
I mean, we have a lot of expensive equipment in a pool hall. 1888 pool hall?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Move on to old business number 3, which is an update on the development of ball fields at 221 Rear Main Street. Town recently filed a wetlands permit application with the Conservation Commission for the development of the Little League field and soccer field at the rear of 221 Main Street adjacent to Veterans Park. The Concom voted to approve that permit. Once the permit is issued, we will start working on the construction bid documents. Old business number 4 is an update on the fire alarm systems and security systems project. All bids received for this project were rejected because they exceeded the project budget of $15,000. We are modifying the request for price quotation documents so that the first year monitoring costs are listed as an alternate rather than being included in the scope for the project budget.
Is there any time on that we're going to be able?
Wednesday.
Old business number 5 is an update on the Town Hall Annex Accessibility Project. We received 4 bids in response to the Town Hall Annex Accessibility Annex Ramp Replacement Solicitation. The low bidder is A.J. Wood with a bid amount of $73,500. The other 3 bids were over the estimated budget of $75,000. CBI is recommending the Board of Selectmen vote to award the contract to A.J. Wood.
Mr. Chairman, just keep in mind that because of the lack of handicapped access when the construction part is going on, there will have to be some coordination with the departments that are working over there, and the biggest one actually will be the Council on Aging, because they're the ones that use that ramp more than anybody else anyway. And we'll be working with the Brian Walsh, the COA director, as well as the different departments over there to set together a plan so that when the construction starts, we'll be able to move forward with a minimum, I hope, of inconvenience to the public and people who would want to use that building. So it's a little bit of a complicated project once it gets going.
Yeah, I'd just like to point out that the bid from A.J. Wood Construction, the low bidder was $73,000. The 3 other bids were from $103,000 to $131,000. So
it's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable
to build a handicap ramp. But the other thing is A.J. Wood, they've replaced all the windows here at Town Hall. They've done some other projects. It's a contractor that we're familiar with. They do good work. They're dependable, and I would make a motion that we award the contract to A.J. Wood.
Any seconds?
I'll second.
Okay, the motion to award the contract to A.J. Wood has been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, that's the end of old business. We have minutes from October 29, we were all present.
Give you a motion, Mr. Chairman, to accept the minutes for October 29th, 2018.
Motion to, any seconds?
Second.
Motion to approve the minutes of October 29 has been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, I'll read the announcements. Announcements. Toys for Tots drop-off is located at the Rowley Town Hall. Town offices will be closed on Thursday, November 22nd and 23rd for Thanksgiving Day holiday. The town has the following vacancies: Agricultural Commission Associate, Cultural Council, Fence Viewer, 3 positions, Wood, Lumber, and Bark Inspector, Zoning Board of Appeals Associate, 2 seats, and Deputy Shellfish Constables, 2 positions. For more information on these positions, please contact the Selectmen's office at 948-2372. The Rowley Food Pantry is in need of donations. Donations can be left at the Rowley Public Library. The food pantry is open on Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and on Thursdays from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Give you a motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Any seconds?
Second.
Motion to adjourn has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you.